If it feels like you've done everything you could possibly do to get good aim and it's still just not happening, this video might be for you. Today I wanted to talk about a method that forces your brain to get good. Now this isn't the most pleasant thing to do, but I think it works. And I'm also not going to be talking about things that will just take you years and years. Over the last 5 years, I've put in 4,600 hours into Kovacs, all on a controller, just aiming with my thumbs. What I'm talking about is something that can improve your aim in a matter of days. Which is why I decided over a course of 3 days, I was going to put 1,000 runs into a single scenario. And by the time you finish the video, you're going to know how it helped me, how it can help you, and how I would do it better. Now to begin, why is it that I chose 1,000 runs? I could probably squeeze in a little bit more, but 1,000 was a good number because it came out to about 333 runs a day, which is what I'm doing here, times 3 days, and then I did one extra run on the final day, which is about 5.5 hours of actual just time spent aiming. And then you add on breaks. This was about as much time as I could fit into one stream or one day. So I figured, hey, I'll take 3 days, get to that nice 1,000 number. Now for this challenge, I also chose Hasu, which is a dynamic clicking scenario. Moving dots, gotta click them. This was for no reason in particular. I just wanted to choose dynamic clicking, a static clicking, and a tracking scenario that I put 1,000 runs into. The other two I still gotta do. Kind of the 3 big aim categories. So on this first day, I had disabled my sensitivity randomizer and I put my sense down by 1 just to make it a little bit easier. On the first day, I didn't want it to be anything crazy besides just getting in a insane amount of reps. It's also important to know that going into this, my stamina for playing Kovacs and doing the same thing over and over has been built up very, very well. I knew going and playing 1,000 reps over the course of 3 days, my focus would probably limit me for how much I could learn and how beneficial it would be. Obviously, you are trying to get the best aim possible. It is not smart to just do this method. Instead, playing a wide range of scenarios that cover different aiming categories is going to help you a lot more. But I was fairly confident that I could keep my focus up, keep my attention onto the game, trying to actually improve. So towards the end of day 1 was quite interesting because I had actually just hit a personal best not too long ago, it seemed like. These high scores and then dips seeming to be pretty common. I think that was because my focus would drop and then I would lock in and then it would drop again, which is just gonna happen when you are playing for that long. Over here was a bit consistent, but I did not care about scores, which is why on day 2 I wanted to up it a little bit, and so I put together a list of challenges. Now these challenges are very specific. If you go down this list, things like no crosshair, sense randomizer, large crosshair, large enough to where it covers the entire target, metronome, peripheral vision, 60 FPS, flicks only. A lot of these I had chose because they are things that just make certain parts of the aiming more difficult. And I really like that I did this. I think getting just an insane amount of reps on day 1, nothing but this all the way through, that was all right. But these challenges, as we will get into it, added on some weight. And now some of these were not too smart, I believe. So the first hour we ran just completely normal. I just wanted to get a pretty long warm up in, get some reps. And the first challenge it was going to land on was wall color, same as orb color. Now, as crazy as this looks, you gotta hear me out. The point of, actually, it looks insane when I'm watching it back. The quality's not great on here though. I wanted this to be the same color because it would force my eyes to really have to look at the target. And so target reading was gonna be a bit more difficult, and we ran this for an hour. The grid lines make it a little bit easier to see, which at the end, I believe I go ahead and change the color completely so there's no grid lines. And this was oddly enough like easier to see without the grid lines somehow. That color's so bright, man. And then on day 2, I end up getting a sense randomizer. So as I'm playing, it's just going to randomly make my sensitivity jump up, which I get a lot of questions. People will ask me how to match sensitivities, and I almost never ever match sensitivities from COD into Kovacs. I'm either running this sense randomizer as I'm training normally, or I would just put my sensitivity up like super high. The sensitivity randomizer wasn't too bad. It created a bit of errors, but I think because I use a sensitivity randomizer so often, it was kind of just normal in my brain. Which brings up a big point. This amount of reps might get you some consistency, but I think a big part of improvement is also just creating those errors in the brain and errors in your game, and your brain will recognize that and force you to get better, especially if you do that over and over. So if I had not been using a sensitivity randomizer, or if I upped the sensitivity randomizer, like I could have also put this super slow sense at times and then super fast at times. So I'm using different parts of my analog stick and my thumb. Initially, it had landed on large crosshair, but I was not able to have a crosshair be large enough to cover the whole bot. Honestly, I probably should have just done no crosshair, but I had instead, luckily enough, re-rolled and we got flicks only. And this was extremely useful. We should go into this for a minute. In the beginning, you will see that I'm doing a lot of small movement. I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to do flicks only and what that even means. I knew that I wanted to get on target as fast as possible. This challenge was a bit more not like a setting you change and having that setting kind of weigh you down, but instead, and maybe this is why it was so beneficial, is because it's just a way that I had to change my brain to play. Because as we get here to the end, the gameplay is probably, yeah, well, it looks so much different. Some point I had decided to try to minimize movement as much as possible, to really focus on just reading the bot and then flicking to where I think it's going to be and clicking. And this was probably my favorite challenge of all of these on day 2. This is the one that stressed my brain the most. I think this one flew by for me, which means I was very focused. Also having fun doing it. The scores obviously dropped down a whole bunch, but as far as methods for improving, this helps a lot. I think with the bot reading, with getting onto target, and re-roll, and we get 60 FPS. Bro, if I could go back, I wouldn't do this 60 FPS, because I swear this, actually, did my score jump up from, okay, well, I was flicking only, to be fair. But I think my score jumped up a little bit after changing this. It looks normal on screen, but this 60 FPS was so weird. It messed with my eyes, it messed with my brain a little bit. I think it gave me a headache, and my brain did not adjust until like 30 minutes in. I probably wouldn't do the 60 FPS thing again. Maybe not for aim training. It would be cool to experiment with having some type of like latency or time delay and then going and win gunfights, right? Practice your aim in game, but having to react some type of latency to where you have to react quick, but also quicker because there's something holding you back time wise, which maybe the 60 FPS could be good. Eventually, I want to figure out some way that my screen would just black out for like very quick and then come back and then black out. And so I can still get the same FPS, but it is obstructing my vision, and that's something I should experiment with. For these final 33 minutes, I had just ran the scenarios as normal. It's funny because at the end of these streams, yeah, I would go into Overwatch, bro. After playing for 333 minutes, my hands have gotten strong enough to where my hands never hurt, aren't too sore, just from working out and putting in so much time. But this was more so just go and have some fun clicking for a little bit. It's just funny to me. I just played like 5.5 hours of the same scenario, and then now before we get into day 3, secret call out. If you are watching up until this point, I appreciate it. Go down in the comments, comment we know you actually care about improving your aim, dedicated to learning. So let's get into how I would make this better with day 3. I also love looking at the files because it is such a long line of just VT Pass to Advanced Season 5 and file after file, and I'm coming up on 20,000 runs actually. Pretty exciting. Now on day 3, I did not keep the challenges going. I just wanted another full day of getting reps in, and I did that partly because as we go and we check the results, I'm going to pull up the graph. Okay, I was hoping this would be a lot more advanced type of stats. Problem is, because it says grouped rounds 1003, I was 5'10", 5'8". That was a while back. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, this is sick. So I hit all of the past ones, and then 821, 334, 822, 330, 336. I guess I had repeated some for whatever reason, so we did plus 1,000. So I start 821. It's saying group round 6. I don't believe that is correct. I think it's just bugging out because I did so much. But that is cool to see. So 823, it goes up. Oh, super cool. Okay, so first day accuracy was 64 with a max of 80. And then the challenges on day 2 messed up all the numbers, but it only goes down to 60%. And the max was still 82. But on day 3, when we just did bulk of 333 reps, we get an accuracy of 69% to 83 at the max. So over the course of 3 days, it's pretty crazy. And this is 300. This is across group rounds 333. So it stays pretty consistent, which is quite crazy. So time to kill went down. Kills overall went up. My average score went up, but on the last day, which could be a drop in my focus, my max score did not go up, unless this score is talking about something else. All right, very cool to see. So over the course of 3 days, dude, I think even just this average accuracy going from what we started at, which was 64 to 69, a 5 accuracy increase across like a crazy average like amount of plays. Bro, 5% accuracies, it's not bad. Okay, let's say that you want to put in a whole bunch of reps, try to get good as fast as you possibly can in a matter of days. I was crazy enough to do it. What could have been better about it? Let's go over some things. For one, I just enjoy doing things like this. Crazy long challenges, endurance type stuff. So it was a bit more fun to me. If you do not have as much time to put in, let's say, the 333 minutes a day, I think you can actually get away with less time by knowing exactly what to get reps at. And what I mean is, we go on day 3, which was my best surprisingly. So on average, this will be my best gameplay. We can even slow this down. So this scenario as a whole is actually a makeup of a lot of small skills. And so I think if you're going to put in a bunch of repetitions into one thing, you could decrease the time by knowing, and we can just pick this out right now, for one, like that like going to the left, that actually kind of bothers me. We could even just say going down to the right, and then direction change could be a lot smoother. And maybe that's your problem as well. So you just go and you do 30 minutes a day of just practicing that exact same thing. You'll still get like so much benefit from that. I got to start doing that myself, actually. Just like video stuff aside, I got to get on that. Thing number 2 is have challenges. I really enjoyed day number 2 doing these challenges. Don't have to put in a content spin wheel type of manner, but making the game harder through just some restriction of how you play, I think is a complete necessary. If I actually had to rank all of these, the flicks only was probably my favorite, what I think gave me the best benefit, no joke. Metronome, just to push speed. And you'll start to see with a lot of these things, they are challenges, like I said in the beginning, that lead back to practicing specific things, right? Metronome, pushing speed. Flicks only, getting on target. That's a bit of target reading as well. Same as the wall color is a bit of target reading. You have to use your eyes. It's harder to see. Things like low FOV, not too sure what that would equate to. I'm sure it's there for a reason. One eye, I was actually going to cover one eye and train that way. The 60 FPS didn't work out too well, but again, obstructing or getting less information visually would have been really good. Sense randomizer, it all leads back to having challenges. Making what it is you're trying to get reps at difficult. Now, I think it's important enough to bring it up. As much as I enjoyed putting in all these reps, I think you can actually bypass this by upping the intensity. If I had to give a minimum amount of time to kind of get in these like many reps and have it still be useful, no joke, I think if you do one specific thing, a specific challenge that makes it harder to do exactly what that rep is supposed to be doing, you can get away with 20 minutes, I think, and get so much gains. As crazy as this is, 1,000 runs in 3 days, I think you could just take a month to do this and get a lot better results. Load up the scenario and only use your eyes to look at the scenario. Don't even play the scenario. Just look with your eyes for 20 minutes a day for, let's say, a week. And then let's say you play the same scenario the past 2. Week 2, 20 minutes a day. All you do is flick onto target where you think the bot's going to be. Day 3 could be something like putting your crosshair in front of the target moves into your crosshair, and then you can click. It gets into click timing. You got to time the click correctly. It can be broken down in so many crazy small parts, but like seriously, 20 minutes a day. Now, if you don't want to have to go and put in 1,000 hours in 3 days on a single scenario, I've opened up coaching spots. Hit me up on Twitter. We'll get you aiming straight.